everyone, welcome back to Drone Man's Land. I hope you're having an amazing day. As I'm sure you can tell, it is a snowy day here in Calgary, and it's the first snowfall since the end of summer. So this kind of got me into thinking, what is something that I love doing in the cold that you might like to do as well? For me, that's drone flying when the weather is right. Today we're going to be going into 3 tips, 3 things that I keep in mind whenever I take my drone off in weather that is sub-0 degrees Celsius. Tip number 1 is hands. Yes, as I'm sure you can tell, my hands are partially frozen because I already screwed up this first tip. One of the big things when you're going out to fly is making sure that your hands are warm enough to manage the controller. For me, I use my pockets on a day like this because I don't like to fly with gloves, but fingerless gloves are a good option, light mittens. The big thing is just to make sure you've got control. If your hands are too cold, you will lose mobility in your fingers, and you're not going to be able to fly safely. So make sure you check the temperature of your hands as you're going. One great way is while you're flying to stop for a second, warm your hands while monitoring your screen. If you have bee shooter, even better. Take them back out, keep going. Tip number 2 is keep your gear warm. Here's the thing, these drone batteries are great, on a good day, at least on the Mini 3 Pro, you're gonna get about 30 minutes of flight time, weather dependent, but they're not designed for sub-zero climates. Thus, keeping these batteries as well as your controller and drone itself as warm as you can prior to flight is important. If you keep them cold and then fly them cold, they already will have drained a fair amount, as well as the propellers will have problems getting started. All right, let's get into tip number 3, which is a simple one. Shorten your flight time. Yes, I know what you're thinking. I want to fly my drone for ages. Yes, I know, but it is winter, it is cold, and things can go wrong. I myself do not fly super far, even in the best of times, but in these instances, the minute my battery gets down to that 30-40% mount left mark, I bring it on back. And the other thing as well is I like to keep a very good line of sight on my drone. It's below 0, things go wrong, gear can malfunction, and being able to bring it back safely both for you, your drone, and those around you is key. One other thing that I think is worth mentioning is sometimes gear doesn't work as it's supposed to. Now, DJI does not say, hey, fly the Mini 3 Pro in like minus 30 degree weather. They don't do that. They obviously say best case operation above the temperature of 0. So when you are flying and it is below 0, things might not always work as you think they should. In this case, I was flying and then all of a sudden the gimbal said gimbal overload. To me, that tells me that the drone was getting too cold for it to mechanically operate well. At this stage, it was right above my head, so I was able to bring it down safely without there being any problems. That's another benefit to making sure that your flight path isn't too long. Alright, well there you guys have it. I hope you guys found these tips and tricks useful for flying your drone in sub-0 degree weather. Keep in mind that these tips will work for any temperature really, but any temperature below minus 20 degrees Celsius is not recommended for your drone. I mean, I guess while we're at it, anything below 0 isn't recommended for your drone. But if you are going to fly in colder weather, just keep in mind that, there's no guarantee your gear is going to work, and there's a very good chance you will have more malfunctions. But these are just my tips and tricks. In the comments below, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Will you be flying your drone in cold weather, or will you just be saving it for the summer? Or maybe there's a tip that I missed. Either way, comment below. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and remember to take beautiful photos every single day. Don't do it for the views, do it for yourself. We'll see you in the next one.